Welcome to the blind battle of the Frey Ranch Barrel-Proof Ryes. I'm your host Sam, and this is Whiskey and SV. All right, tonight is going to be an exciting episode, as usual, right? Because I have with me 3 Frey Ranch Barrel-Proof Ryes, 2 of which are picks, and 1 is a Distiller Select, meaning it was actually picked by the master distiller at the ranch, rather than just being picked by a group or a store. Okay, so I'm really interested to know how different these single barrels are. I obviously have tried them before, not side by side, and I have my favorites. And I really want to know in a blind which one would stand out, if any, and yeah, just generally how different they are and which would be my favorite. So the first one we're going to have tonight is the SFWBSS special one. This one has this cool sticker of Colby Frey, and it's called Star Wars Attack of the Crop Dusters. The ultimate tater sticker back there. And this one is barrel 736. And it is bottled at 68.3% ABV. So, based on what I remember, this should be my favorite, but we'll see. So the SFWBSS, I think I've mentioned before, is a really cool San Francisco Bay Area whiskey and enthusiast kind of group that does picks. They're very nice in that there's like really knowledgeable people there, and they're very generous. And once a year, they have a really cool get together with a bunch of famous distillers, and they call that the Fog City Social. Really an amazing group. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, I really suggest that you go on Facebook groups and search for it and try to get at it there. And by the way, just a little side note, I think I've got this one, featured this one in my channel before. This is the episode 1 of the SFWBSS pick from Frey, and it was called Rise of the Mash. This one was barrel 815, bottled at 61.2% ABV. And obviously it's the bourbon, not the rye, so it's not going to be in tonight's tasting, but I thought it's cool to just show the sticker to see they have a theme going on. Usually the person who picks, they add some sort of really cool sticker to it to make it just more fun. And you'll actually notice that the top on the picks seems to be gold. I don't know if this is like just because they're newer. The Distiller Select, which we'll get to, is a different color. Okay, so let's introduce the second one. The second one is from Norcal RAD. I think I got this from the Rocklin Bottle Store somewhere in Northern California. We got a good deal because we got a group deal from this particular store in my whiskey group. It is bottled at 64.34% ABV. And I remember between these two, there wasn't too much of a difference. I think I slightly preferred the nose on the SFWBSS one, but these two are very close to the best ryes I've ever tried, bar none. Especially when you take into account the price, but even if you don't take into account the price, I think they are just such solid ryes that I'm really happy to say that I have backups of each one of these, and yeah, hopefully I'll not run out anytime soon. Okay, and finally we have the first ever Frey Ranch barrel-proof rye that I got, and this is bottle 673, and it's a really low proof one actually. This one is 60.96, and you'll see that this one has the Distiller Select sticker there, meaning it was not a pick from a group or a store or anything like that. It was just picked by the master distiller. The problem with these is that when you buy from the Frey Ranch store, the online store, you don't get a choice, and you don't know ahead of time what proof the thing you're going to get is going to be. So every once in a while, they just put them up and they say, you're going to get a single barrel, but you don't know which one. So I took a risk, and my friends got a 68%er. I got the 61%er. I was not very happy about it. And, well, you know, it is what it is. Now I have some high proof ones, and I can definitely confirm that they are definitely much better. But yeah, we'll find out in tonight's tasting. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to pour a little bit of these in these glasses and do our blind. I'm going to be a little bit stingy with my pours today because I I'm going to somewhere after this, and I need to pace myself. So let's see. Number 1 is going to be the SFWBSS. Number 2 is going to be the Rocklin Bottle Shop one, the Norcal RAD. And number 3 will be the low proofer Distiller Select. Okay, so let's put these on. Make sure we don't break them. And let that go. So, yeah, I'm again very excited to know how different they are. I was watching a video recently by Bourbon Junkies, and they tried several single barrel proof rye whiskeys from Jack Daniels, and they found a huge variation between them. I wonder if the variation here is going to be a lot or not the same. I definitely know that I have my preference when I've tried these before, but I don't know how different they're going to come across in a blind. I suspect they're not going to be immensely different from profile, but because of the texture and the ABV difference, I think there'll be quite a significant difference. Okay, so let's stop this and we'll randomize. Okay, let's get started. So as usual, I'm going to nose them first, and then I'll taste them. So starting by this one. Yeah, so lots of grassy and green and herbal notes in this. Hint of sweetness. Kind of a confectionery nose. It does have some burn to it. You have to be careful when you let in. So okay, so I'm going to guess this is probably one of the higher proof ones. Don't know which one. This one also has a burn to it. Very similar profile though. It's kind of grassy and confectionery notes. Minty notes, I guess. It's not quite the same grassy note as you get on the bourbons. That grassy note is slightly underneath, but it's still herbal and minty. Okay, this one is a lot less ethanol driven, so I'm going to guess that this is probably the low proofer. Generally, the nose on this seems to be a lot more muted. I wonder if it's because I just got used to it. So let me go back to the first one. No, this is definitely much more potent. Generally, it has a lot less of the flavor to it. A lot less of the, not flavor, a lot less of the kind of like the aromas. They're not as concentrated. This has a more, it has a slight dill kind of rye note to it. Very, very slight. This is all confectionery. It's just like shortcake and red. Yeah, so just on the nose, I'm going to guess this is SFWBSS. This is the Rocklin one. And this is the Distiller Select. So, I don't know. I think that from what I remember, my favorite nose was this one, and currently I think this is, yeah, definitely this is my favorite nose. This is close, but yeah, there's slightly a little bit more of a herbal note there that's kind of going towards dill, which is not my favorite note. Yeah, I don't mind it, but it's just I think I prefer this more. Okay, so let's I think let's start by the low proofer first. Okay, so sweet arrival, and then a whiff of kind of herbal and spicy notes. It gets like spicy quick and then dies down quick, and when those herbal notes come back, it's very mouth-watering. It is my first drink of the day, so I think it definitely is an easy sipper for sure. There's layers of herbs, that's just different types of herbs that come. I don't know like the name of herbs very well, so I can't really describe them, but just imagine lots of different herbal notes, some mint, I think, a little bit of like dill, kind of like, yeah, I don't know the name of herb, so I'm not even going to try. Okay, so let's go to this second one. Okay, now this is smelling a lot more confectionery now. Much sweeter arrival. That herbal note, it didn't have as much of a spice bomb as the other one, interestingly. It actually didn't even seem as high proof. Even though on the nose it seemed high proof, it didn't, on the palate it seemed lower proof than that one. Let me try again. Yeah, second time around I'm getting a lot of like the oak as well. And now the spices are coming out as well. Kind of like a cherry cola note to it. Of course, just lots of herbal notes like mint and some spicy kind of baking spice notes. And then, yeah, the finish is just lots of herbal notes with a little bit of oak bitters. It's very tasty. Okay, so cool. Let's go to the final one. Oh, I really prefer the nose on this. It's just much more like confectionery and nice. Interestingly, on the palate, this was not as sweet as the middle one. It went directly to more like herbal and slightly bitter notes. Like a bitter mint, kind of like mint extract kind of note. But the nose is so nice. Some fizzy cola kind of notes. It's very, very herb and rye, like kind of just the herbal notes are very apparent. I think this is slightly more bitter than this one, which is kind of strange because on the nose you would think it feels like it's going to be the opposite. All right, so I think definitely this is like number 3 for me, and I'm going to guess that it is the Distiller Select. Between these two, I like the nose on this more, the palate on this more. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a rest and then try again and see if I can come up with a winner. Okay. Now I'm getting a bit confused. Yeah, so it's very difficult to make a decision after you've had too much in a short period of time with these, because basically what happens is they all converge into the same flavoring, because like the sensitiveness to them and that initial impression that you get just changes. So I'm gonna go with my gut instinct, and I think my gut instinct is that this is the SFWBSS, and I slightly prefer it. I think the palate on this is slightly better, but the nose on this just feels like much better. Well, not much, but definitely like the difference in the nose. The difference in the nose for this is more than the difference on the palate between the two. So I think slight edge to the palate on this, slight edge to the nose on this, but the nose, the difference is a little bit more on the nose. So I think I slightly prefer this one, but I'd be happy with any of these two. This one is good, but it's just more muted than the other two. So I think yeah, I definitely like don't prefer it as much as the other one. It's still a solid rye, don't get me wrong, but just these two are significantly better. Okay, so let's do the reveal. So the first one here is number 2. Okay, so this is the Rocklin one. The Rocklin one slightly edged out. And let's see this one. This one is number 1, so this is the SFWBSS. So I confused these two together. I think they are so close that as I thought it would be hard to know the difference between them. And of course that means this has to be number 3, which is the Distiller Select. Okay, so there you have it. These two are very close in ABV. They're both basically, if you round them to 10th of a digital to 1 decimal place, they're both 68.3, right? So, and it makes a big difference when you have 68.3 versus 61, basically, right? So, I think ABV has a big bearing on these. It could be that also the barrels that were picked are more special. I've tried a bunch of these different Frey Ranch Ryes now, and I'm fairly confident that this is probably the worst one that I've tried out of all the ones that I've tried. So, and most of the ones that I've liked that tended to be higher ABV. So I think if you're out in the market to try to get one of these, you should definitely try to get one of the higher ABV ones. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you for joining. And now we know that my favorite is actually the Rocklin one, but it's very close. So these two are definitely two very special bottles. All right, have a good one and see you next time.